Helena Blavatsky learned in Tibet Freemasonry. She stayed over there for some years and studied the occult, and she wrote some popular books. One of them is called Isis Unveiled. It's nothing but a bunch of occult writings that want to mash all the religions of the world together into one. Again, that is what I believe all religions are. All of the religions except for Christianity have been mashed together to imitate Christianity. They all do it. That's why they have to try and undermine the church. They want to make the Christian church into the occult. And the only way to do that was to infiltrate the church. All right? They infiltrated the church, and they've infiltrated science with their ways. Okay? The occult, I'll say it again, has infiltrated the church, and it's also infiltrated science. The other book Blavatsky wrote is called The Secret Doctrine. And The Secret Doctrine, again, is about Masonry, it's about the occult, and it's also about Lucifer. All right, where she admits that Lucifer is divine, and that is the God that she serves. All right.
The queen occultist Helena Blavatsky wrote about the popularity of the Kabbalah and its attacks upon the church.
The next thing we have is that she says people have natural mysticism. Natural mysticism is when you don't really know that you are studying mysticism or that you're a mystic, okay? And the reason that a lot of people don't know this is because they don't know what all mysticism and the occult entail. If most people knew, then they wouldn't be so enthralled with it in the first place. So, they're seeking sympathetic minds. All right? They want to contact other sympathetic minds. So they want to build with like people, right? And so then they get astonished to find out how large a number of persons are not only interested in mysticism generally, but are actually themselves Kabbalists. And the reason that they don't know is because, again, they weren't really into it. It's the same as the Satanist who will tell you that, you're a Satanist because you're not worshiping God. This lady is on the same tip as a Satanist. That's why, in the end, she is a Satanist, and she admits that Lucifer is the God that she worships and that all people in mysticism and the occult are worshiping. Because you're not worshiping the Christian God, you're just doing whatever the hell it is you think you want to do. But I'll let them go ahead and read this, and we'll move right along the video, all right?
The last quarter of our century is witnessing an extraordinary outbreak of occult studies, and magic dashes once more its powerful waves against the rocks of the church and science, which it is slowly but as surely undermining. Anyone whose natural mysticism impels him to seek for sympathetic contact with other minds is astonished to find how large a number of persons are not only interested in mysticism generally, but are actually themselves Kabbalists. The river dammed during the Middle Ages has flowed since noiselessly underground and has now burst up as an irrepressible torrent. Hundreds today study the Kabbalah.
At the KabbalahCenter.com, you can purchase baseball caps, t-shirts, hands-free Kabbalah water bottle carriers, Kabbalah love and astrology candles. The reform movement among the Kabbalists are making it rich off the ignorance of their disciples. The traditional Kabbalists are disgusted with the idea of entertaining non-Jews with the Kabbalah. They believe that Jewish mysticism, however deceptively presented, should not be brought to the Gentiles' attention. Rabbi Obadiah Yosef was quoted in a widely read Jewish newspaper called the Jewish Press, demanding that every male Jew should embrace the Kabbalah. If not, they will be punished.
I believe it is imperative that the Orthodox community re-embrace mystical Judaism, Many Hasidic rebbes were all adepts of Kabbalah and wrote extensively on the topic. Therefore, anyone who wishes to state any opinions to either discredit the Holy Zohar as being the legitimate teachings of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, or to disrespect or discredit the Kabbalah in general, is to be considered a heretic. Every male Jew must study Kabbalah. Rabbi Ovadia Yosef has said in his Yevadai Da'at, "It is a true and correct thing that the value of Kabbalah study is very sublime, and great will be the punishment for those who do not study the secrets of Torah."
When the neophyte is initiated into the true secrets of Jewish mysticism, he is warned not to divulge the secrets of the Kabbalah.
The Hebrews taught that to divulge after initiation into the rabbinical mysteries, the secret of Kabbalah, was like eating of the fruit of the tree of knowledge. It was punishable by death.
And here it is again. In Freemasonry, if you divulge the secrets, it's punishable by death. And here they are again, explaining that if you give away the secrets of the rabbinical mysteries by teaching Kabbalah, it was like eating of the tree of knowledge and punishable by death. Again, they can't do anything but imitate God. That's all they're about. This also came from Helena Blavatsky from The Secret Doctrine, Volume 2, page 396. People have done very thorough research on these sorts of things, and that's something else that makes me buy into it, is that these, the breakdown of the Kabbalah and the Talmud and Judaism and Freemasonry have been very thoroughly researched by people. They have the books and the page numbers. You can go look at these things for yourself. I've already done it.
By death.
With these chilling threats and many rabbinical antics, we can understand why the Kabbalah has an important place in Judaism. Salo Baron was a highly respected professor of Jewish history at Columbia University. In Volume 8 of his 18-volume work, A Social and Religious History of the Jews, said the following:
The great days of the Kabbalah as a major historic force in the destinies of the Jewish people lay in the future.
The Zohar is used to explain the occult and alleged mystical aspects of the Talmud. They will talk about the esoteric, which is used for the higher clergy, like the rabbis, and then they'll have an exoteric, the exoteric meaning of the Talmud as well. So you can just read the Talmud and have it stand for what it is verbatim, word for word, or you can have a hidden meaning, which is the esoteric, the esoteric. All right? So that's deep as far as Freemasonry goes, because in Freemasonry, there are always two meanings to everything in their books as well. There is a plain reading of it, verbatim, word for word, what it could mean, and then there's a hidden meaning, as in the esoteric, the esoteric. All right? That's prevalent in Masonry. So Freemasonry and Kabbalism is the same thing. And for that matter, Catholicism doctrinally is Masonry or Freemasonry as well.
We can see the Kabbalization of the world, and not just the Jews, is coming to pass. Let us take a brief historical look at the Kabbalah and then explore some of its teachings. There are different views of the genesis of the Zohar. The Standard Jewish Encyclopedia mentions some of the divergent opinions.
In the work, authorship of the Zohar is ascribed to the Tana Simeon ben Yochai, his colleagues, and disciples. Some defend its early authorship, or at least the antiquity of certain sections. Others regard it as the result of a lengthy development. Others consider it to have been written as late as the end of the 13th century by the Spanish Kabbalist Moses de Leon, while others are of the opinion that Moses de Leon utilized ancient material, adding his own contributions. It seems that the two earliest strata were composed between 1280 and 1285 in Spain, and the third by another Kabbalist who was acquainted with the Zohar proper and attempted to imitate it. From the main body of the work, there emerges the figure of a strong personality belonging to the Kabbalistic school, reflecting the development of Jewish mysticism in the 13th century.
Whether it was written by Simeon ben Yochai in the 2nd century or by the Spanish Kabbalist Moses de Leon in the 13th century, the point remains that myriads of people are influenced by it. The Kabbalah presents a symbolic explanation of the origin of the universe, the relationship of human beings to the Godhead, and an emanationist approach to creation, whereby the infinite light manifests through 10 Sephiroth on the tree of life. The Dictionary of Mysticism and the Occult defines the function of the 10th Sephiroth.
The Sephiroth represent levels of spiritual reality, both in the cosmos and in people, because the tree, metaphorically, is the body of God, and people are created in his image. The tree is sometimes shown superimposed on the body of Adam Kadmon, the archetypal man. The 10 Sephiroth in descending order are Kether, Chokmah, Binah, Kesed, Jeberah, Tifereth, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malkuth.
These people are always talking about what the Hebrews borrowed, or early Christians borrowed from the Egyptians and the Babylonians. There are many atheists nowadays who understand that Christianity never borrowed from any other culture. It was its own thing. The people still want to insist on Christians and Hebrews borrowed from people. They borrowed from no one. That wasn't their thing. This will also be a reason why everyone wants to make, not everyone, but the leaders of religions want to make them all become one. Is that the heads of the religions do indeed understand that they are all the same. Problem is when Christians jump in and they want all religions to be the same as well. They're not all the same. The standard for if someone was a prophet or not, or of Christianity, is if they spoke of the same laws that Moses spoke of. We're also in a rut because we're far removed from Moses, but Moses recommended that we speak of God morning, noon, and night. There really shouldn't be a time of day where you omit God from a lesson, teachings to your children, and so forth and so on. You know, you teach your children and then they'll teach their children. You teach the grandchildren. The grandchildren will remember that what their grandfather taught them and what their parents taught them. And it's just the endless cycle of repeating the things that Christ wanted and God wanted. That way, they'll never really leave your mind. Muslims actually kind of have that thing right because they pray a few times a day. What is it? 7 times a day they pray? So they have Allah on their mind consistently. Not saying you can't have God on your mind without praying 7 times a day, but at least they're kind of paying homage to their God in a good fashion. 7 times a day is a good number of days to be praying. Hey, I mean, you can pray as much as you want in the end, but you know, they're the only ones who I see praying all the time like that.
The Kabbalah has spiritual links with Gnosticism and other early mystical cosmologies. Wallace Budge was keeper of Egyptian and Assyrian antiquities at the British Museum a century ago. He admitted to this fact in his book, Amulets and Talismans.
The Kabbalah of the Middle Ages represents a mass of beliefs and traditions, which the Hebrews adopted from the Egyptians, Babylonians, and Assyrians, Syrians, Zoroastrians, Gnostics, Greeks, Arabs, and even European peoples. And whilst readily accepting new beliefs and theories, they abandon nothing.
In the introduction of the Centenary edition of the Zohar, written by J. Ambelson, he did not hesitate to show the complex nature of the Zohar and its connections to other mystical traditions.
From a survey of the whole subject, one is drawn irresistibly to the conclusion that the Zohar, so far from being a homogeneous work, is a compilation of a mass of material drawn from many strata of Jewish and non-Jewish mystical thought and covering numerous centuries. Some scholars find a good deal of background of the Zohar in the religion of the ancient Zoroastrianism, the allegorical type of exegesis of which Philo is the leading exponent. Gnostic theories concerning the relation between the human and the divine, echoes of medieval beliefs regarding astrology, necromancy, magic, and metempsychosis, all these elements jostle one another at random.
That was pretty plain and simple. That they admit to biting. They're a copier. They copy. They're not the carbon copy. They borrow from everybody. They are indeed a smorgasbord. All you can eat. Everything's there. Have what you want. Doesn't matter to them. But, again, that's not what Christianity admits to at all. The Bible doesn't admit to stealing from others at all. They also mention how they have parts of necromancy, astrology, and magic in the Zohar as well. All those things are abominations and forbidden in the Holy Scriptures.
In the pages of the Zohar.
We have to admit that the Kabbalah is unique. It's the only religion that embodies all these mystical teachings under one umbrella. Before Gershom Shalom died in 1982, he was professor of Jewish mysticism at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He readily admits to the connection between the Kabbalah and the world of mythology, especially the Gnostic imprint on the earliest Kabbalistic text, the Behir.
The great symbols of the Kabbalah certainly spring from the depths of creative and genuinely Jewish religious feeling, but at the same time, they are invariably tinged by the world of mythology. It must be kept in mind that the whole meaning and purpose of those ancient myths and metaphors, whose remainders the editors of the book Behir, and therefore the whole Kabbalah, inherited from the Gnostics.
Gnostic comes from gnosis. It means to know. There are the Gnostic Gospels that give a totally different story of Christianity than it is in the Bible. Again, it has stuff in there about there was a spirit who came and had sex with Adam and did all sorts of things. It's a trip. They really take the Bible and twist it up a whole lot. You can find a lot of crazy stuff in the Nag Hammadi library. Go look it up. I think it's Naghammdi. I think Nag Hammadi. I think that's how it's spelled. But that's free online if y'all want to go check that out as well. A long time ago, somebody passed me a whole bunch of papers they had copied online that were indeed the Gnostic Gospels. So I read that type of stuff too. It is really strange. Bizarre stuff to be reading. Gnosticism is also what the Matrix series is based upon. Neo had to learn from Lawrence Fishburne's character. He had to gain the knowledge to escape the Matrix. All right. Gnosticism simply means, again, if you have enough knowledge to get out of this universe or this place, then that's how you escape. It's not that you have to wait for Jesus Christ to be your escape. You can escape on your own. You just have to find the proper knowledge, and then you can get out. I see people posting on Facebook all the time about life being like this construct. I don't know about the next video, but soon I'll post a video that really breaks down the Matrix, the Lego movie, Ghostbusters, and Tron as all being the same movie. They're all based upon Gnosticism, and when y'all see that, y'all won't look at movies the same ever again, I promise.
The author of the Zohar extracted various different teachings of Gnosticism and rebuffs it to his own liking. Gershom Shalom gives us many examples of the parallels between the Zohar and Gnosticism, having a lot of information still to be covered. I will quote one example.
Thus, he displays the greatest interest in a group of ideas which owes its very development to the already mentioned Gnostical school, the idea of a left emanation, of an ordered hierarchy of the potencies of evil, the realm of Satan, which, like the realm of light, is organized in 10 spheres or stages. The 10 holy Sephiroth have their counterparts in 10 unholy or impure ones. The latter, however, are distinguished from the former in that each one has a highly personal character. Each, therefore, has a personal name proper to itself, while the names of the divine Sephiroth merely represent abstract qualities such as wisdom, intelligence, grace, beauty, etc.
The Universal Jewish Encyclopedia is clear about the Babylonian and Zoroastrian roots of the Kabbalah.
Although Palestine was the birthplace of Jewish mysticism, the land where the Kabbalah was conceived and born, it was in Babylonia that it attained its greatest importance. Circumstances favored its development, for in Babylonia there was much discussion among the adherents of the various religions, as a result of which the Jews became familiar with many ideas that later were incorporated in Kabbalah. The fantastic theories of the Zoroastrian religion, a system of ghosts and demons, of angels and devils, of reward and punishment, of an upper and nether world, provided a fertile impulse to Jewish speculative students.
All that evil that was in Babylon, they credit their literature to Babylon and its greatness. But yet, the Lord went to Babylon and was like, you guys don't have anything going on here but evil. That's it. The Lord separated them and sent people to their own places, and then he made different languages for all the nations of the earth. Jews follow the Kabbalah. Hebrews follow God. Israelites follow God. Jews follow the Kabbalah and the Talmud. All right? Hebrews and Israelites and Christians should be following the Bible. Catholics try and act like they use the Bible. Well, Catholics themselves, they could, but the Pope, again, the hierarchy is where these things become important. The Pope will use the Bible to justify whatever type of evil thoughts they want to justify. And that's why in the end, when you get to the writings of the Pope, that you will find a lot of things that are anti-biblical in there. Again, the Pope doesn't believe that people should have private property. The Bible clearly says not to covet thy neighbor's things. So your neighbor has things that are his. You're not supposed to want those. Your neighbor owns those. Leave those things alone.